This video demonstration is regarding the InDesign Project 5 Biltmore book cover. What I have on the screen currently is just the book cover that is open to show you how the final project should look. Now, if you have your instruction sheet downloaded and printed out, please refer to it. We need to open a new document, and I'll not save that one. Go to File, New, or again you can do this on your welcome screen. New document. The width should be 6. The height should be 9. And as far as margins, make them 0. This time we don't want to have a margin guide of any sort. Now we're going to be using the control bar, which is at the top, and there is actually a link to a page on Moodle that talks about the control bar and how it changes based on whether you're in a selection tool or the type tool or frame tool even. But what we're going to do is we're going to start by creating different rectangles for our picture box. So with the rectangular frame tool chosen, we're going to just click and let go. We're not actually going to type, we're just going to not actually draw one. Click and let go, and we're going to type in these widths. So 6-inch width, and then 2.375 inches height, and say OK to that. Now, we want to make sure that it's at 0, 0. Actually, the first box in your list below is GeorgeWVanderbilt.jpg. That is the box we just created. So we have to make sure that the X and Y are 0. Now, notice if the reference point in the control bar is in the middle or on the right, the X and Y changes based on that. So in order for these dimensions on your sheet to work correctly, you need to have your reference point in the upper left. Notice how I have that there. So the GeorgeWBiltmore.jpg box should read XY00 and WH6 and then 2.375. Now it's a simple matter of going and creating all of the boxes. Now I like when I'm doing a layout that has instructions like this, I prefer to go ahead and set everything first as far as boxes. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to let's say click here. It doesn't matter where you click. Let's do the W and H first for box number 2. So the width is 3.75 and then the height is 6.625. Now notice the box, the X and Y for it are not correct. So after we enter that, let's change the X to 0 and then the Y to 2.375. Now notice the Y value for this box's position is the height of the one above it. See, the height is 2.375. That's the vertical height. So when we click on this, that much distance from the top of the document is where the Y value is. So this reference point is measuring the position of this upper left corner of the box. And now, if you'll notice, 3, 4, 5, and 6, those boxes, the width and height are exactly the same. So rather than draw 4 separate boxes, we're going to, let me get my selection here, I'm going to click off that box. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to click right where those intersect. And I'm going to do the width and height, 2.25, 1.65. And now I have one box. Now, what I'll do is, before we talked about the step and repeat feature, so I'm going to go to Edit, Step and Repeat, and I'm going to make 3 copies, and vertically I'm going to offset it the height of the box. Notice now I have 3 copies of that same box, and they're all lined up nicely. So at this point, if you'd like, I would go ahead, personally, and load the pictures. So the first box has the George W. Vanderbilt picture. That's in our List C drive. Or, again, you will download these from the Moodle site and put them in a folder that you choose. Now that looks good. Now, again, if you need to position a picture, you can do that by using the direct select arrow, which is that second tool. I believe I left mine in the position that it came in. In this box, we would need the Biltmore Estate.jpg. And most of these should fit without having to change, go to the object fitting. Most of them should fit proportionally. I believe I sized them so you didn't have to finagle with that. If something looks odd, go ahead and fix it to your taste, or try and make it look as close to the document example at the lower right of your handout. This one is Biltmore, I believe, Autumn. Next one is Lion. Let's see. Yep, that's right. And if you'll notice there quickly, what I just did without really showing you is that I actually used the V key and the A key to go between these two tools. That's something that any of these tools, if you happen to notice there's a little letter or command in parentheses, using that letter keyboard key will get you to that tool. If I hit A, notice how my tool switched. V switches back to direct select. That's just a side note. Let's see, pool, and finally, I believe we have, what's the last one? Library. So now we have all of our graphics in. Then we'll need to create text boxes or type boxes. Now with the type tool, we don't want to click and let go, simply because if we do that, it will make the type go inside the picture box. So we need to click, hold, drag, and then let go at some point. And now we're going to change our X and Y values. Go back to the selection arrow. Make sure your reference point is upper left. And then we'll do 0.375. And then the Y value, 1.47. And then the width and height, 5.5. And then 1 inch. So we have that. Now, Biltmore Estate, which you'll need to type this in yourself, will be in Trajan Pro or Trajan. If you don't have Trajan, you should have it, but if you don't, use something similar. Palatino may work fine, but you'll have to change your type size manually, and you'll also need to change it to the small caps. Trajan has the small caps automatically, and we're just using the regular, not the bold. Notice how the lowercase letters from Times became small capitals in this font. Then the next line, the First American Castle, we'll need to change that size and font. Change that to 22. Again, we'll have to manually enter 22. And we'll change this to Minion. If you don't have Minion, Times will be fine. And if you mistype something, you can always wait for spell check, but I tend to like to correct my mistakes as I go. Now, as before, we'll need to go to our swatches palette, change the type to the paper value, and there's actually a drop shadow. Now, this is something that we really haven't talked about per se. In order to add a drop shadow, we'll have to go back to our selection tool, make sure that that type tool is still selected, and then notice there's an FX button. Click there and go to drop shadow. Now a dialog box should appear. I always like to click on the preview. Now notice I have a shadow, but it doesn't look like the one in the example. So first off, I don't need it to go so far, and then I need to have it wrap to the upper left. or fall to the upper left. And then also I think the opacity should be about 100. Now if the shadow needs to be stronger, you can always add a spread. Notice how that changes the dynamic of the shadow. Once you're happy with that, you can simply hit OK. Now for the other text box at the bottom, again we'll click, hold, drag, and then we'll need to type in these values. Again, going to the selection arrow. Now when a text box is highlighted, you don't want to hit the V command to go back to your selection arrow, mainly because that will type a V in your box, and that's probably not what you'd want. So now we have our text box located at the bottom, and I'm going to zoom in. Command plus zooms in on your document if you need to. So first thing is text by, and then you'll put your name. So I'll just put my name here, but you'll put yours. And then photos, public domain. There we go. Now again we have Minion Pro Bold as our font. And I'm hitting the tab key. If you get the wrong font, you can go up and down with your arrows. 12 point is fine. And we do need to make the typeface white. And Command 0 fits to window. Again, let me show you where that is the long way. View, fit to window, or fit page in window, or Command 0. That's the quick way to zoom back out. Now, the last thing that we'll need to do is we need to draw lines. And I don't believe that is listed on your document. But that's something, if you notice, if you looked at the example I gave you, there will be lines. Now we've drawn lines, so this should be no big deal. Hold the Shift key down as you draw, and we're going to make these 3-point black. And then you'll draw another line vertically here. This also helps if your picture boxes don't all meet perfectly. This will mask any slight errors you have in that. Now here we're going to create the one rule here, make it black, make it 3 points again. And you can do that either in the control bar or in the stroke palette. Again, any window you need can be found there, or should you need to find a window that you don't know where it is, type in the type of window you want, tabs. If you go there, it shows you where it is. So the help is a great feature for finding windows you don't know. Alright, so we've drawn this one rule, but we need 2 more. So remember our step and repeat? We'll only need 2 rather than 3, but the value is correct because the height of the boxes are 1.65. Notice how we now have that. So we are finished. We will save our document. I'll just call it Biltmore. And you should always put your name or possibly the project, as I said before. Call it number 5. And then go to Export or Command E. Save it as a PDF, high print quality, crops, and registration. And this concludes this demonstration. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at puckett@mc.edu, and also refer back to the Moodle site and any videos that may help you.